Keep spawning culture. Hey y'all, Andrew Reed, Samantha Reed with Mushroom Cast. My video looks a little darker today than it normally does. Did I change the lights in there? I don't think I did. Anyways, hello. You guys are probably used to my ADD by now. I like it because it gives me a chance to let people come in anyways. Look at that. We're already got people on X and YouTube coming in. Excellent. What's up, everyone? The first to like, second to chat. Here and now is where I'm at. What's up, Justin? Good evening. Yeti and... Excuse me. My lungs have been a little irritated today, so... Hello, everybody. Oh, look at that. It even shows your little wrench. What's up, Hollis? Man, we had a great Christmas. It was a... How do you say this? It was full of family and fun, and now I'm tired and ready to sleep for 3 or 4 days because literally it was one day after another, after another, after another, after another, full of family, food, and things like that, which is great.
Oh, yeah. We always play like a game night, and we had some new games this year that were a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I am really good at bouncing ping pong balls into solo cups. Really good.
That game was called what? Beat That?
Beat That, yeah.
That's what, yeah. It's awesome. You guys should try it. Definitely, if you don't have it in your arsenal as far as games, get it.
It's super worthwhile.
It's hilarious.
There's one part of the game. I know we're here to talk about mushrooms, guys, but you asked. So there's a game where you put a solo cup on each end of on the end of each hand, right? And then you put a ping pong ball, a solo cup, ping pong ball, solo cup, and you do that on both hands. So you've got these articulating solo cup hands, and then you have to use that to pick up other ping pong balls, which is harder than it sounds because every time you go to pick it up, that round ball just makes those solo cups. I'm really good at that game. So you have to bet on yourself. So you hear you get chips, 1s, 3s, 5s, and then you have all kinds of stuff like stacking dice and unstacking them without them falling with chopsticks and picking up ping pong balls, blowing cards off of cups without one at a time kind of thing. It's a super fun game. And I had a lot about it. Celebrate Yule. Like the whole season. We've been celebrating Yule for like 2 weeks. So
yeah, we got a lot of friends and family from all walks of life. You know, it's just kind of one of those things that we celebrate a lot of things. So
we went to the candlelight service at church. We celebrate Yule. We're kind of weird people, so. But it was a grand old time. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, a Happy Yule, I refuse to say Happy Holidays. You know, if you had a Happy Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. No.
Happy everything.
Happy everything. So Happy Holidays. Anyways, I I don't have a lot of stuff planned for today. This show is really just all about kind of talking about the previous year. It's the last show we're going to do before the new year. So the next show we'll be doing is on the 3rd, I think. Yep, on the 3rd. Happy Honda days. Hey, someone must be a car salesman. No,
Mary Chrysler.
Mary Chrysler. Like I said, car salesman. There's I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about. There's all kinds of questions we can answer. I don't have a lot of segments done because this holiday season has been so jam packed that even right now my head feels like someone pushed it through a sieve, and I'm only now starting to reassemble my brain pan again. So it's I'm going to be kind of flighty, and just kind of all over the place. But yeah, I mean, we had a great holiday, a long holiday, a stressful holiday because, I mean, you guys know how it is when your lives are like, when your biggest complaint is that your life is too full of family and fun, it's still stressful. It's just a different kind of stress. It's a stress you're happy about. So I've spent today putting together, we're working with the laser. That's actually why my lungs are a little irritated right now. But the idea has been, I've been trying to cut these lids for fish tanks using acrylic, and I'm cutting them to basically be able to attach a fan to, drop some sensors down, do a basically an Inkbird style, or just Inkbird. I mean, it'd probably work. Though I just found out my sensors don't fit the hole, so I'm going to go back and redo the laser cuts again. But the idea is that this system is like you'll be able to automate like a 10-gallon tank. I've got some 55-gallon talls over here on my right hand side, and so I just got the lid measurements correct on the laser for those. And so what we're going to do is I may see. I don't know if I can publish those files or not. So if anybody else has got like a little CO2 laser or something like that, they can do it. I'll see if I can publish them. But the idea is I'm creating some experimental fruiting chambers. So
You can send them, and you can like. Are you talking about putting them on the website? Because you can have them as like a free download if you want.
can I?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's through Glowforge?
Oh. Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know.
Can,
I don't know if I can export the file itself. Anyways, I'm gonna see if I can do. I'm working with Glowforge, unfortunately. Let me tell you guys right now, if you're at all slightly handy, don't go with the Glowforge. We went to Glowforge because we talked ourselves into being afraid of the CO2 lasers.
He talked himself into wanting something that was easy to.
It's true. It's true. I'll take the blame. I wanted something easy to navigate because I was having a hard time learning stuff, just with all the things we were doing. And so I talked myself into like, I should just go something plug and play. It is not plug and play. It's worse. Let me tell you something. The measurements in this slicing program they suck. They suck. Like I'm trying to cut 11.5 inches, right? So you use their rulers. You tell it to cut. Just program in there 11.5 inches. It's supposed to be plug and play. Nope. It cut it at 12.25 inch. What sense does that make?
I don't know. Anyways. It has a good representation online as far as like the general support that it offers on a lot of like Reddit and Facebook groups and things like that. There's a lot of people who have them and kind of troubleshoot with one another. And I think that was something that really attracted me to it. And something that made me ultimately decide, okay, well, maybe this is a good option. Mm-hmm. And we've just had a lot of frustrating things with it. So if it's something that you're considering to add into your toolbox as a small business owner for merchandise, for prototyping small things for your business, there's a lot of really cool, neat things that you can do with the laser as far as, and one of the main reasons why we purchased it was that if you attend pop-ups and farmers markets and you can build small shelves for yourself or friends or other people. And but I would definitely, I'm very curious about the X tool. Like that's something I'm really, really wanting to kind of reach out and maybe talk to them and see if that's something, later on down the road, we're going to use the Glowforge, but it would be awesome to see kind of a side-by-side comparison on that too.
How likely is it that the measuring tape has the wrong measurements?
Andrew. And there's things that I've designed in Adobe Illustrator, which is very specific, that I have then imported into Glowforge and then had to redesign it in the Glowforge design software.
Right.
So just don't waste your money. And the customer support is a little difficult. It's quite difficult. So
Ocean says, "Is it still Christmas? Ed Grand and Mossy Creek in the same day?" I didn't get to watch Ed's today. I wanted to watch it, but
and we're a day late. Well, not even late. Well, yeah, late.
Day late. We're supposed to do these on Thursdays, but we had a family dinner that got moved to last night because someone in the family was sick. So it was our 4th Christmas day in a row. Not complaining, just saying. Which lion's vein do you use for your extractions? One strain or a blend? So right now, Powerman, I use the Tribble strain is my lion's vein extract. That is the strain that I use. It's been bred and selected for how much of the exudate it produces, how sugary and sappy it feels on the outside, and I'm running now another generation off of it, breeding it to.
I'm really excited about.
I can't remember what I bred it to, but I've got some strains going of it that I need to get out there. But Tribbles is right now my extract one, and a blend would be better in my opinion. And I do plan on offering a blend for extracts that has the Tribbles, has a Coralloides, has a conifer coral, and would do it like an equal mix of all those, because they in the studies they were saying that the Harrisonone mixes were far more statistically relevant, like outrageously more performative than the any one Harrisonone alone. So I would like to do a mix. I just haven't done one yet, because if someone takes my stuff and they test it, they're going to only test it for the lion's vein one. So I need to make sure that what I've got is testable, which is also why I feel like the testing of extracts right now is still in the BS phase, but except on certain circumstances. Hope your holidays were good. Glad to see you're doing better, Andrea. If you guys grown purple mukatake, is there any tips you can give? I have not grown it except in dish, but I have gotten 2 wild strains of it this year. And someone sent me a 3rd one through the Mycologium. So I have 3 strains of it now, but I have not grown it yet, like in the grow room. Right now is the time to do it. And I'm about to make some spawn of it, but I have not done it yet. Did you decorate a lion's vein? No, I did not. We probably should have. You should see our Christmas tree. Everyone in the family gives us Christmas ornaments that are mushrooms. So we have a very fungal-themed Christmas tree every year.
It's true. And then you should have seen Andrew's beard yesterday.
My mom got me beard ornaments that light up and twinkle. And my daughter would not let me leave the house until she had decorated my beard. So I went to the family dinner last night, all a twinkle. Excuse me. My lungs are really irritated. Happy New Year's, Niall. How about this year's experiments and results, thoughts, and opinions on them? Well, I mean, there's a lot. And so we certainly can go over some of them. I can see that you've already asked about one of them right there. How are the oak and oat blocks doing? Great. You can see behind Samantha here, there's a lion's vein that's about 2 to 3 inches thick on top. That's
the lion's vein, I have noticed, really likes it.
Yeah. The oysters are growing just fine on too. I mean, like.
But I've not noticed like a significant difference. It's about the same to me. You know, as far as like maybe there's a 2-3 days lead time.
I like because the blocks are a little bit more dense.
As far as colonization time, I tend to see more of a difference in the grow room with this recipe versus the incubation room, with the exception of Harrisium. Harrisium grows in a lot faster, and they are more dense for sure. They also shake differently. Yeah,
they shake a lot easier. That's the biggest thing, is that they really crumble apart and shake way easier than oat hulls in particular. Oat hulls, wheat bran get kind of a gluten, and they have that gluten coat kind of feeling where they turn to a glue kind of inside.
Yeah.
Whereas soy will crumble apart a little bit, but to me, soy is just so voluminous, right? And then so the whole oats make a block nice and compact and dense, and they shake in a lot easier. So that's really one of my favorites. And then you're asking how were the hericiums on pet food blocks? So the cat food blocks, which Samantha hates. It's one of my favorite things ever. It's probably my favorite experiment I've ever run, just because of how much it disgusts Samantha. But they
He
work
loves
perfect.
to rile me up.
I do. It's like my greatest passion.
Thank you.
Well, when you're riled up, you're pretty. I mean, you're pretty at all times, but you're especially pretty when you're fierce. So, what was that? Was that Aislinn?
Wasn't me.
Oh.
Wasn't me.
So, anyways, the pet food blocks. We just did cat food. I hadn't actually tried dog food yet. The dog food I think would be the cheaper way to go. Or no, I did dog food blocks and didn't do cat food yet. And cat food would be the cheaper way to go because it's higher protein. But yeah, that's it went perfect. Like you just calculate out your appropriate nitrogen content, roughly 4 to 5% of the total solids in the block, I think. And beyond that, I mean, once you have that calculation done, you can use fish meal. I've seen people use fish meal. Is it fish meal that people use in their gardens? What's that fish emulsion? You can use. I've seen people use fish emulsion, which I don't think would smell very good, but
it doesn't.
Yeah. But I've seen people use all kinds of stuff. So I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can use, so long as you get your nitrogen correct. And the dog food blocks work perfect. So sounds like your 0 is off. Are you setting your 0 each time you start? Oh, on the laser. I'm not, but I don't know that the Glowforge has an option for me to do so. I will check that out. Exception. I appreciate that suggestion. I do that on the 3D printers. I am familiar with that, but I don't think Glowforge has ever given me an option to.
This is a common complaint in the forums, by the way, is the fact that the Glowforge software differs from the other software.
It's a directional mic.
Okay.
I can hear you way better now.
Good.
Do you have any tips and tricks on reishi that you've learned over the years? It's all about genetics. As far as I can tell you, whether you're going to get good reishi or not, like if you got good genetics, you're going to get good reishi no matter how you grow it. As reishi will burst through a bag, it'll burst through a filter patch, it'll grow through a filter patch, it'll just the big difference is whether you're going to get antlers or conchs. And really, for me, the best way is get a good fruiting one, grow the conchs out just by making sure that you have like the Horizons bags are the best right now. The XLS H, I think is what it is. XLS.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, XLS-H. So, which is a 0.5 micron filter patch, but it's like instead of being a little square, it's a really long horizon patch, they call it. Those are perfect for antlers, quick fruiting reishis, and things like that. Merry Christmas, Stephen. Wishing you a fantastic new year 2025 ahead. Well, wishing you guys the same. I very excited about this coming year. So hoping to start it off with the new website, and we're breaking classes down now where our mentorships, we're going to offer like a 2-day class, a 3-day class, or a full week, depending on what you want to do. Like an in-depth lab course, an in-depth liquid culture course. We're breaking all that stuff down. So we'll see how that goes soon, but we'll have all that stuff released. And yeah, I'm really excited about 2025. 2024 was one I was not really excited to go into, and I mean a little bit, but and 2024 was just kind of a hard year. But I've got a lot of things pushed and pulled into what I think are the right direction, that I think 2025 is going to be a really, really good year. Though I think 2024 was a good year for mushroom farmers in general. So I'm here now, working third shift on the mushroom farm, listening and learning. Well, hey Ed, glad to see you on here. Working third shift on the mushroom. Oh, that's right, it's night where you're at right now. I can't wait for my tribbles. Ordered it last week. Thanks for the discount code. You're very welcome, Niall. I hope you appreciate, or I hope you enjoy it. You're offering your appreciation now. So Quanto, how much of per kilogram of substrate? How much grain spawn per kilogram of substrate? XLS-B is the horizon, I guess. No,
There's also an XLS-A.
The A is what you want then. But how much grain spawn per kilogram of substrate? I don't know, man. We just eyeball it. We go a 5-pound bag into 20 12-pound bags. And then we just pour it and we just eyeball it. We could probably figure that out. So let's see. 12 times 20 would be 240. Divide that by 5. No, wait a minute. That's wrong. You divide 5 by 240, and you get roughly 0.02 of a pound. What we would do is break that into ounces, probably, and then you can get ounce per ounce kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know how to tell you how much. There's so many different spawn rates that people use. 1% was really common for us back in the day. We're not doing 1% now, but I might have found you an old specimen of resinous polypore. It's like 2 feet wide. I'll take a biopsy and run it when my op is up and running again. Absolutely, Billy. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've got one resinous polypore culture so far. That's it. And one beefsteak that my daughter. No, I've got 2 or 3 beefsteaks now that people donated, but one beefsteak that my daughter found actually just across the street from the warehouse here. But I'm all about them polypores. I'm under the impression you aren't supposed to eat raw mushrooms, but I see white cremini on all salad bars. I'm a misport. No, in fact, that's actually one of the worst ones to eat raw, according to the studies. But I mean, I'll put it to you this way: I still eat them raw occasionally. You're not supposed to. It doesn't really do you any good, but I like the way they feel and squeak against my teeth. What is it? I can't remember how much you eat. Is like smoking a pack of cigarettes. But I also drink sassafras tea that I make at home, and sassafras tea is carcinogenic, and people don't make root beer and stuff out of it anymore, unless they make it at home like I do. But it's less carcinogenic than a beer, that kind of thing. I don't know where creminis are compared to a beer, but yes, that is the general rules. That there's like shiitake is about the only mushroom you should eat raw, or that you can eat raw. But eating mushrooms raw, you're not going to break down the chitin in your digestive tract, so you're just really not going to get much out of it. But I'd like a lion's vein that would be good for slicing and frying. I tried the MCM original, and it came out tough no matter how I cooked it. Recommendations? Which MCM original did you try? We've got a few of them as far as lion's vein goes. Or if there's I guess there's one labeled the lion's vein original, which was I think the original culture I had, but I don't think it's labeled that on the website, is it? That's just on the jar.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so I'm not sure which one you tried, but there's a bunch of different ones that are MCM originals. Some Hericium are just going to be a little bit tougher. Some are not. Tribbles is a really good one for cooking. I just pulled it apart and put it in a stew a couple days ago and had some last night. Tribbles is a really good cooking one too. It's very flavorful, but it's just it doesn't put out as much weight fresh-wise. It puts out better dry weight, but less good fresh weight. I mean, it's really just made for drying. Could fresh grass clippings be used as a nitrogen source? Absolutely. I used to do that all the time. What we used to do was we would take straw, and I would put, how it comes in like the square, and in the square there come like these little leaves of the straw. I would take those leaves and I would throw them out in the yard, and then I would take my push mower and I'd put it on the lowest setting. And then I would go there and mow it. And just mow it in a circle. And of course, when you're mowing it, you would get grass clippings in it too, right? So, and then you just rake all that up and use it and cook it. But you can absolutely do it. You can use alfalfa hay. You can use all kinds of stuff that's green. The hardest part of grass clippings is going to be calculating out your nitrogen source. So I would just always go conservative on that. What brand of dog food did you use? Which dog food did I use? Was it Purina?
I didn't think we used dog food. I thought we used Meow Mix.
No, I wanted to use Meow Mix, but we didn't have it at the time.
Oh, I have
It was
no idea.
Purina. It was Purina, one of their not puppy kibbles, but their smaller dog kibbles because our dog is smaller. Kathy says, sorry, I just missed it. What is your oak and oat block made out of? It's made of oak and oat. I made it as easy as I could. Joking. It is hardwood fuel pellets, whole oats, not oat holes, but whole oats, so WHOLE oats, and water. Are you going to offer a live Zoom class? That's an interesting option. Samantha's talked to me about that. I have not really thought about this or like how I would do this, but it would be a pretty simple matter to do. Probably through Discord if I was going to do it, though. I like Discord a lot better than Zoom. But yes, I'm going to offer an online way to do classes. So
Good gracious.
what's that, baby?
It's the next few comments. Sorry. You'll see.
Okay. How did the biochar turn out? Fantastic. I love it. I ran into a problem in that I burned a hole in the bottom of my reactor part of the kiln. And so the pyrolyzer chamber, we'll call it, the carbonizer.
It was really sad.
Yeah, it was super sad. I burned a hole in it bad. And now I know exactly what I did. But I bought a bigger vessel and my measurements were just about that much off. And now I can't fit it in my fire box, which is the 55-gallon drum. So now I have to either order something or go buy something smaller or build a bigger firebox before I can go back to making biochar. But what was really cool was laying blocks out and making the biochar out of the blocks. That worked out really, really well.
Makes me want to go grab the block, but I know it would make a mess everywhere.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, don't do that.
You have pictures though somewhere. We did document it, so you might see it in a reel soon, if not already.
Oh, absolutely. How did the biodigester for sterilized blocks? I haven't done it yet. So the biodigester is on hold because I'm simplifying my life right now. So because I'm working on the things that make me money right now, because I have got to get all that stuff settled and employees put in place before I can go back to experimenting. So
yeah, when we had more people here, like it was really easy and fun to go and do all those little side projects. But now that it's just, we're lower on our manpower, so now we're definitely concentrating efforts.
Those projects end up just causing stress until I
Yeah.
get those done. So, but the biodigester is definitely one I want to do. I'm convinced that it's a good way to go.
We want to make sure we get our core responsibilities taken care of first.
That's correct. We want to get the business to where we have a great customer experience for people, that we are fast and good quality and a good price, and that we want to get all that stuff worked out. And then once we have that chugging along, get our employees in, get them well trained, and then we can go back to a lot more of the side projects.
Yeah.
Good news is breeding projects are going bonkers right now. I've got those on overdrive. So, and in fact, today is day 60. You know what that means, Samantha?
Shiitake?
That's shiitake. The first in my shiitake brood stock. So I ordered in cultures and stuff, and I've been growing them out. Today's the first day that they go in for fruiting on the day 60 mark. And then we do a day 90 mark as well. So the first sets to be getting the spore prints from is today. So when I end this, who knows? If I'm too tired from this, then I might go, I might go and put them in tomorrow. So it'll be day 61. I don't think it'll mess up my data too bad. But I wonder how Pathfinder is on oak and oat blocks. King Blue seems to do well, loving the pearly whites. I can tell you how Pathfinder does. We had the best crop we've ever had on the oak and oat blocks.
It does really well.
Yeah, the Pathfinder
very well.
kicked. I mean, that was the most beautiful I've ever seen. In fact, every time I've grown Pathfinder on these blocks, it's turned out to be super beautiful, which has only been 2 or 3 times now. But it's convinced me now that Pathfinder is really not that hard to grow when you do it on the oak and oat. It used to be a hard mushroom for some people.
There have been many strains that we have grown over the years that we are now cycling back through as you do, just to make sure everything is looking good. And I've been impressed with how they've performed. So,
yep.
and all of this kind of started with, straw pellets getting harder to find, soy pellets getting harder to find because people are switching to the soy from the straw on some things. And then it's like, okay, well, oat hulls are now available in the agricultural byproduct market. And can we utilize this? So yes, you can.
Absolutely. 20% of the population is allergic to raw shiitake, including me. But most often shows up as a red rash on your legs. Interesting.
I am very curious as to where you collected that 20% data. I would love to see that data sheet. That is really curious to me. I've also seen that's why I said goodness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, good gracious, that's a huge number.
It is a huge number.
I don't even know that nut allergies are that high. So that's insane.
Well, mushrooms are. It says the prevalence of mushroom allergies is unknown, but it could be as high as 10 to 30% of the population, which is similar to mold and pollen allergies.
Will you click that link? Where's the site? Where they're citing the source?
Respiratory and Immunological Reactions, which is National Institute of Health.
Okay. That's it. That just, I mean, it's not surprising, particularly with how high mold and
fungus allergies are.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can you put up a link for your new website? I can. It's just the same website though. MossyCreekMushrooms.com.
It's the exact same.
Yeah, we're just building a new site. Well, at the same address. Yeah. But I will. Boop. Copy. And and paste.
Please let us know.
I just posted it in the chat. If you guys have any problems, please let us know, because if that's what you were going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've literally had people go, "Oh, I've been having this problem for 3 weeks, but I figured you were just going to fix it." And I'm like, I didn't even know it was a problem until I was told it was a problem. So make sure you tell us the problems and help us work out the kinks.
And there's also some
Kathy said I can just look at the shiitake LC and it breaks me out.
The copyright is changing as well, and there's some things on there that aren't quite correct. So if you see any typos on that, let us know too.
We've been buying human grade wet dog food for our mutt. I tried it and generally impressed with it. Well, yeah, I feel you. Sometimes, man, these dogs eat better than we do, which our dog probably needs to. He's gotten into something that has made him allergic. He is now chewing himself bloody raw in places. We're trying everything. We've tried changing his food over and over again. We've tried making sure to treat him for fleas in case he's allergic to fleas or mites. The only thing I can figure now is maybe he's allergic to the dang cats. That's the only thing I can figure. But he is chewing himself raw, and it is killing me. So we gave him a Benadryl today, and that seemed to finally calm him down. But I can't imagine you can give a dog Benadryl forever. So
no,
right? Can't just live on Benadryl.
Yeah, this is just a symptomatic relief.
The receipt said Mossy's Main MCM original. Always, yeah. Mossy's Main's a firm mushroom. It's a very firm one.
A lot of people use that one for capsules or supplemental, making supplemental capsules.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people.
Or powder.
It's a slow growing mushroom, but it's a very dense heavy. Like Samantha said, it's good for powders. It was actually it's a sister strain to Tribbles, and so it's actually it's part of the extract line. It's just not the best one for making like the liquid extracts and stuff.
Well, and this is where the breeding projects in the background, you're putting a ton of pairings together, and each one has its own unique characteristics. And then we'll soon start going into the product description, especially with feedback like this. So thank you so much. That can be added into there, and people can kind of see, okay, well, this one has a higher compound of this, but it's not particularly a tender mushroom for eating or to be cooked in this way. So you can use it for this application. That's kind of a lot of that information will come in over time.
But be patient with the website. The website's not going to be finished for a long time, but it is getting better every day, which is what I wanted.
Well, and oftentimes it takes us about it'll take us 3 or 4 months to grow something out 4 or 5 times or over a couple of different seasons to see how it behaves over time.
I don't think the Albright Grove is on the website anymore. I had Samantha take that off because it's a potential leasing strain. So I took that one off. But Tribbles is a really good one. It's not nearly as firm as Mossy's Main. And by the way, anytime you see one that says MCM Original, it just means that either we bioprospected it or we bred it. We're the maintainers of that culture, that kind of thing. If you don't see that MCM Original, which honestly we're kind of moving away from having other people's strains at all on our website. But
and even then, it was very few and far in between.
Right.
Like it was something that we had purchased the licensing for years and years ago.
Yep.
But which doesn't seem to be much of a practice anymore for a lot of people. Like they'll just,
MCM Original just means that we maintain that cell line. We're the originators of that strain in one form or another. Kathy says, handed out 10 bottles of your tinctures for Christmas. Folks were excited. Excellent. I'm glad they were excited about it. We've got some that I need to hand out. I've actually made a special extract for my dad that I forgot to give him. I told him about it last night, but I made it out of a plant called Stonebreaker. For, kidney stones. He had recently had a run-in with those, and so I was like, yeah, I'll give this to you. So if you ever have that problem again, we'll see how it goes. I live too far for the apprenticeship, so online would be awesome. Okay, Nan. Yeah, absolutely. I can set up a class. It probably won't take me long to do. So, it's literally just setting up camera angles and things like that. So, what is your best recommendation for samples? How big and of what varieties and what types of restaurants, etc.? The way I always tell people, David, is full-size boxes for samples. So if you sell in 10-pound cases, give them a 10-pound sample. Never give them your best mushrooms for samples. Never give them your worst mushrooms for samples. Give them something that's about middle of the road. And then when you do get your boxes of your best mushrooms, rotate those amongst your chefs so that no one chef gets your best every single time. That's the way I would always run it. Biodigest for burnable fuel. Could spent blocks be used to produce fuel that could be used to heat tubs? That's actually, Ben and I have a hypothesis that the spent blocks should still have enough BTUs left in them that we could sterilize the next batch. Every batch has more than enough fuel to sterilize itself. So our hope is, oyster mushrooms, so Pleurotus austriatus, in test reduces lignin by about, I can't remember. I think it was 60% over a 4-week period. And so, we're normally 3 weeks in incubation, 3 to 4 weeks in the grow room. Your lignin content should be way down, which means that there should still be, with the lignin being broken down and used for fuel for the mushrooms, that opens up hopefully a whole lot of hemocelluloses, celluloses, etc. So, I know they did it with corn cobs or something like that. Corn frass. I can just look at Shiitake LC and it breaks me out. That scares me.
Yeah.
I'm already so allergic to everything. Like poor Teddy, but Teddy and I are alike. I'll scratch myself raw if I get into an allergic reaction.
We planted chestnuts to test the lot number on that batch, and they are fruiting in the bag because Andrew is so allergic to them that we don't dare open up the bag.
Yep, I am allergic to chestnut mushrooms. I don't like them. I won't breed them. I won't work with them. So sorry, world, but you won't get Mossy Creek Mushrooms Originals chestnut strains. Hi, Laird and Lady. Hello, Spud. The wife and I have been adding mushroom powder blend to our morning coffee. Is this a bad practice since the powder is raw? Not necessarily. So I add dried. Well, mine aren't raw though because they're dehydrated, but they're dehydrated at heat. So roughly 125 degrees is where I dry my lion's mane and cordyceps at, and all of that's dried to a point that it's cooked because it's dried for a few hours.
And it's important to do reishi like that too.
Yes, reishi is very important to do like that. And I don't powder reishi typically unless I'm doing a liquid extract. That's the only time I powder it, is so that when it goes through the extraction process, there's cell walls available, but there are more surface area available to the cell walls. But yeah, the reishi is very important. We had somebody who did his own reishi and his own powder, but it was someone we knew, and he basically hospitalized himself, thinking he basically gave himself mushroom poisoning by using uncooked reishi powder. So I've been at 115 degrees. I'll bump it up. I think 115 is probably fine, but 125 is still below the point of destroying hericenones and erinacines. But above the point, I think 115 is what you need to break down chitin. So you're right there on the edge, and I would just be a little bit more conservative by bumping it up. Chestnuts also seem to cause a lot of allergies in people. Yep, there we go. I was very distraught when one of my chefs stopped buying them. He had 3 months of blocks incubating. Yeah, it sucks.
Aww.
Hopefully you can find someone else to take them. But is that nut allergy related? I don't think so. It's probably closer to shellfish allergy.
I will say that we did have some. It was Preston who and Wonder Woman. Last name's Reed too. I forgot what's her first name.
Oh crap! It's not Jessica, is it?
It's been too long. So it's anyway. They fermented their fruiting bodies and turned it into a sauce, and
I could eat that.
And yeah, so maybe just the application that they use it in, might be something if he's concerned for his customers. There's easy ways to break down those chains. So.
Absolutely. But yeah, Jacob, mushroom cell walls are made of chitin. Shellfish have chitin. I'm thinking that it's probably closer to a shellfish allergy than a nut allergy. The website will not let me subscribe.
Here's Tobias's answer. And it's on the main page, from what I understand.
He said, I'm unable to recreate that problem. I submitted twice on the subscribe form in the footer, both incognito and regular browser, and both worked fine. Laura, we just...
Let us know what button that is.
He said, Lol, are we just going to communicate in screenshots? A little more context would be a bit more helpful.
Oh, I thought that was a good context screenshot. I mean, it gives it right there.
Well, just tell him that you're in the middle of the show and,
Okay.
Just tell him now before you forget. I can handle this. I'm not sure, Nan, we can test it out a little bit, but let's see. I can try it and see how it works, but you're talking about to subscribe. So first name, submission failed. Boop. It didn't work for me either, Samantha. Here.
Nor me.
Okay. Cool. That'll give him some information to work with. So, alrighty. So, Nan, we'll get on that. Thank you for letting us know there was an issue there. Started putting labels for my chestnuts about potential allergies. Kathy says also can't subscribe. So hopefully he'll get that fixed for us, and that'll work better in the near future. What's the best approach to hydrating wood fuel pellets when mixing them with whole oats for spawn preparation? Okay, hold on. Best approach for hydrating wood fuel pellets when mixing them with whole oats for spawn preparation. Just dry bag it. So if you're going to do the 50-50 mix and a 5-pound bag, you do something like 1.5 pounds of whole oats, 1.5 pounds of hardwood fuel pellets. Just scoop, and put it in your bag. And then you add 2 pounds of water, and that's a 40% hydration. So 40% hydration at 5 pounds. I think that's right. You just double check my math since I'm on the show, but times 40% is 2. Yeah. Okay. So 2 pounds of water makes for 40% hydration. If you want to go 60% hydration, I think it's 2 and then 3. So you would do 1 pound of oats, 1 pound of hardwood fuel pellets. Yeah. So you do 1 pound if you're doing 60%, which I do for my fruiting blocks, a 60%, but I do 12-pound blocks. So it's 5 pounds of dry material and then 7 pounds of water makes a 60% roughly. It's a little less than 60% hydration, but 60% is what I use for fruiting blocks, but 40% is what I use for spawn. It grows in faster and then it's able to be used easier. So breaks up easier. But yeah, as far as hydrating goes, you just dump it in a bag and put the water in, and then your sawdust will swell up, and then your grain will force hydrate during your cook process. Fruit blocks, what method do you recommend to ensure consistency? Yeah, that's it. I mean, just add it in there, and you're going to mix it all up when you add spawn to it, so there's no need to worry about consistency in the block. Ooh, what was the book for natural extracts and medicine that you recommended? What was the book I recommended?
I've got like 7.
Okay, so you have the Fungal Pharmacy.
Should I go get them all?
No. You have the Fungal Pharmacy, and then I have that one. There's the book, the herbalism book. What was the one I just got? Man, you guys are making me do all kinds of typing today.
I keep telling Andrew we ought to do like a book review type thing.
Oh no, not Herbalo. Just
because
herbal.
you are able, or at least in Tennessee, we're able to order up to like 500. I think it was maybe $400-500 worth of educational material, books, and so we invest quite a bit into.
Ooh.
Did you find a new one? Oh,
no, I found.
Well, I mean, we are coming up on 2025.
No, this is the same book I bought, but where I bought it for $25.95, you guys can get it for $16.87 right now because it's on a 35% discount right now. It's called the Modern Herbal Dispensatory, a medicine making guide by Thomas Easley and Stephen Horn.
We'll put a link in the.
Can I put it in the chat?
Well, you just put a link for the website in the chat. Are there penalties for that?
I don't think so. Let me.
You can do an affiliate link.
That's what I'm gonna do.
That way we can get enough kickbacks
don't
buy
buy it
another
yet.
book
Yeah,
that we
don't
can
buy
recommend.
it yet, guys. Buy it from my link. Because if you do it from the link, where is the share button though?
Oh my God, Alan said, "Hi, Sam. Sorry I didn't see you at first. I'm here."
You're probably looking down or bent over or something.
Probably.
Oh, this is irritating because normally they have the little share button, the little split.
But yeah, they're oftentimes we'll have people walk in just to the front break room area, and which is a little stunning to most, I think, because of the kittens and Teddy, of course. But they'll look to the right, and it's just an entire wall of books. And so
I can't tell you how many people go up to my bookshelf and start taking pictures.
Yeah. And I'll be drawing syringes or working in the grow room, and Andrew will oftentimes be in here working on video editing and stuff. And so they'll sit there and look through the library until we can get to him. Often it's like maybe 3 or 4 minutes before I can get there.
There you go. Link in the chat just now, just under Michael Allen's. Where it's that link is.
Did you say the title of the book?
The modern herbal dispensatory.
I really like the cover. Like it has a lot of
illustrations.
Yeah, kind of.
Samantha actually was there for a while thinking about going into medical, being a medical illustratrist.
Well, and just biology,
What's the word?
microbiology,
Illustrator.
illustrator. Yeah, I was taking a ton of biology courses and a lot of like AP art classes and stuff like that, and that's kind of what I was leaning toward.
Mm-hmm. But that's the book, Jake. Jake. So hopefully that'll do you. Many times the not kidney stones are caused by oxalates in greens, spinach, collards, broccoli, and kale is loaded with it. Can be consumed another calcium-rich food with greens. Yeah, I'd always drink. I'm a big, heavy milk drinker. My dad is not. He's a Coke drinker.
Yes.
Which I mean, I like Coke too.
It amazes me how much milk you drink.
That I drink.
Yeah, I'm a little bit blown away.
Honestly, I hold back too. I could drink a gallon a day and it would not upset me. Everyone's weirded out by me. Like, okay, let's say I've had too much to drink and my stomach's upset. Like if we've been hanging out with people, I don't drink very often, so I get an upset stomach really easy. So when I do, I always just chug milk. I literally, that's when I go to the gallon and I just start chugging the gallon. And it settles on, and people are like, on alcohol? And I'm like, yeah, what do you think a White Russian is, right? Like, this is just a White Russian in the stomach. I call this a Scots Irish. But the, if I have acid reflux, I chug milk. If I have any sort of digestive problem whatsoever, I chug milk. And it immediately settles my stomach. And then I just drink milk because it is the best freaking thing God put on this planet. But yeah, so maybe that's why I don't get kidney stones.
I don't like milk that much.
I don't know how not. When people are like, what are you, a milk drinker? Yes, I'm a milk drinker. And you're not going to like, yes, give me some milk with my whiskey. In fact, just leave the whiskey. Give me the milk.
Gracious.
Why biodigest? Wouldn't just burning the blocks be more physically efficient? Let me tell you about trying to burn mycelium, Jake. It doesn't happen. It is fire retardant, if not downright fire resistant. It is. Plus, it smells like burnt hair when you burn it, and it's not a pleasant smell. So, but biodigesting, you don't smell hardly anything because it's gas.
And then, like we had a biodigester until
someone
a rack fell on it,
busted it.
Yeah, and poked a hole in the side, but
then it stunk.
Yeah. But just, yeah, you can absolutely take spent blocks from the farm and put it into the biodigester and then harvest that methane into gas stoves, which we had as well. And then you can put your pressure cookers, if you don't have the electric ones, on there and basically just complete a cycle. Like it's pretty awesome.
Hi from Dracula Land, Transylvania. Well, hello. The clone from the wild Enoki, it is clean. How do I send it to you on slants?
Oh, he's been messaging.
And the chicken with the wood from Transylvania.
On the back end, on the messenger, I'm having a hard time keeping up with all of those messages.
Gotcha.
So I'm sorry I've not responded.
If you Google us, you can just send it to our address. You just list it as fungal sample in syringe, fungal sample in tube, whatever you've got it in. That's usually the easiest way to get it through customs is just to tell them that it is a fungal sample, and then tell them what it is in, so that way they won't open it. You
can do a phytosanitary certificate with it. Just kind of, if you're,
you can do a personal one, yeah.
Yeah, or if you know someone who's approved for that. We definitely had to go through some steps. So
yeah, but it's worth being able to do if you're going to ship stuff. Being able to do a phytosanitary certificate works really well. But yeah, please, I would love that, and especially the Enoki for sure, chicken of the woods for sure, but the Enoki especially. My plates were. I don't know why this happened. So white Enoki, I put the spores of the white Enoki on plates, and they all popped just immediately. Like, just no problem whatsoever. They germinated, started growing colonies very quickly. Mixing Appalachian Enoki with the white Enoki spores, trying to get them to cross on the same plate, just not happening. The nothing will germinate, nothing will happen. So it's just, I don't know. It's weird, but we'll see how it goes. Like that's,
You'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll figure it
I
out.
have faith in you.
All right. Well, they actually,
You're really good at this.
well, I do have some early crosses now. I don't know if I told you that or not, but I do have some Appalachian Enoki and White Enoki that are crosses now. So I'm about to sample those and try them and get them into the testing, which, by the way, my testing parameters have changed big time, and it's going to be hopefully so much faster. It's in part while I'm building these small fruiting chambers. How many hours minimum do you to dehydrate?
Look at
The puppy? I know it looks so much like Duke. Makes me sad too.
And that white face.
Yeah.
Like,
It made me, as soon as I saw that puppy, it made me think of Duke, and I was very sad. Minimum hours to dehydrate. I usually just do it overnight, but probably about 4 is really good. +1. I'm not sure +1 what. Good day, Andrew, and everyone. Happy holidays. Hello, Michael Allen.
that's a health point.
I sorry, I didn't see it first. Oh, that's the link to the book. Are the green shelves coated with epoxy? Is it rust resistant? They are rust resistant. It's vinyl, which is vinyl a type of epoxy? I think it is. I don't know. It's a type of plastic, at least.
Let's
Anyway,
Google it.
I'm not worried about it.
Pressure washing, going through the grow room. We bought these racks secondhand, so a few of them had been put through like a roll-in steam chamber type thing. Definitely, these things are robust. I prefer the green ones over the chrome ones. And I've seen a lot of people that have purchased racks similar to this, but they're black. I don't know if it's the same material, but what are you looking at?
You keep talking. I was something that Jake said.
Oh. So I wish I knew that answer off the top of my head. Is vinyl epoxy. Vinyl ester and epoxy resin. No, vinyl is not epoxy, but there are some resins that combine the two. Yeah, but then you got like material science is such a neat, fascinating thing. I was actually on MIT's free platform, and they're doing a class for material science right now for free if you are curious about it.
Who's going to do it?
I would like to, but I don't have time.
Oh. Interesting, Jacob. That is an interesting question you just asked me. So you asked, are those different species, Filiformis and Voluptapes, right? And that is actually a really interesting point, that the golden that I have, the wild, may be Filiformis, which would be very interesting why it would be so different. That would explain why it's so different. It also, moreover, bioactive polysaccharides derived from Flammulina filiformis have demonstrated to exhibit a broad spectrum of bioactivities, including anti-cancer, immunomodulatory, and anti-neurodegenerative effects. However, the precise mechanisms underlying these actions remain unclear and warrant further investigation. And I will say, they're talking about this, which Enoki also is very mucilaginous. But this, the Appalachian Enoki, is incredibly mucilaginous. And like it produces a thick layer of slime that's actually really hard to process through the extracts process to try to clear it out, which then I found out that that's where all the polysaccharides are anyways, and you don't want to clear out the mucilage. So I don't know exactly. It may be that they are different species. And if that's the case, these crosses that I've got that seem to be forming clamp connections, I find that very, very interesting. I definitely need to get that DNA tested. Actually, I have the information to do so. I just haven't done it. Try papaya extract for belly aches. Maybe. Can I mix it with milk? Milk is milk for the win. I'm proud of my lactase ability.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it to everyone because it works.
I'm not saying
for you
everyone
because
should do
your
it.
genetic
At
mutation.
no point did I say anyone else should do it. I'm just wondering if they're suggesting papaya extract to me, and I'm saying, can I mix it with milk? Milk is what's good for me.
Yeah, but I'm just in general. You have suggested it before.
Well, to milk drinkers, that's less than a third of the population of the world. So obviously, I wouldn't suggest it to the people who it's going to nuke their stomach.
Okay, so I see where the question for the epoxy. It's
because it says epoxy wire shelving.
Yeah, and it says NS certified, rust proof, suitable for indoor, outdoor, moist, humid, walk-in, freezer, cooler environments. And boy, is it! We were told that they were vinyl, and then when we looked it up earlier to buy more, it said vinyl.
Peppermints works for my indigestion. My neighbor swore by drinking a carbonated drink and burping for his indigestion. I mean, ginger ale for me definitely works, but again, milk is just the thing for me for some reason. You ever feel like you get like you swallowed a stone, and it's like you just can't digest anything. You can't, like, your stomach just feels like it's got a rock in it. It doesn't particularly hurt, but it's not comfortable. Man, then I just just I pound a gallon of milk, and not the whole gallon, and definitely not all at once, but I'd just chug a big glass of milk, and that feeling goes away. Yeah, I miss. Oh, that puppy's gone too. Why do puppies have to leave?
I know.
Can't I go before my? Well, no, then I'll leave the puppy alone. Can't we go at the same time? I was eyeing some epoxy coated shells. Thank you, Sam, for the extra help.
Okay. Here I am delving deep into.
She means you're welcome.
You're welcome.
I've been working on her manners, guys. I'm trying. So funny enough, I'm lactose intolerant. How the hell is a Mongolian lactose intolerant? It's you guys and us are the most lactose tolerant peoples in the world, and you're one of the few Mongols that can't drink milk. Oh, that's crazy. The Rainbow Bridge will be amazing someday. That's true. That's true. Hopefully, all my puppies, particularly the good puppies, are Truffle. Oh, I want Truffle to be there. And Pat. Pat was my first good dog. She was my first good dog. She wasn't the first good dog. Like, when I lived with my grandfather, we had a dog named Rusty, who was a mutt of the highest degree. When he arrived, he was the ugliest dog too. I loved that dog. Don't get me wrong. In part, he was ugly because he was abused. He had all these scars on the top of his head. He just showed up at my grandfather's farm, and when he showed up, my grandfather, it took a long time to build the trust, and then he finally got the trust. And when he petted him, he felt these bumps under his skin that were hard, like bone burrs kind of thing. And Gramps finally got Rusty on the back of the truck, and then he was going to put a collar around him so he wouldn't jump out. Rusty, snarled at him, and Gramps said, "You listen here, you SOB. You're going to live at my house. You're going to get the respect you deserve, but you're going to respect me too. And you're going to let me do this so I can take care of you, or you're not welcome here." And he said, Rusty just put his head down, and I swear Rusty was like that. Like, he could understand everything you said. And Gramps put that collar on him and drove him to the vet. Rusty didn't like the collar, but he never snarled at Gramps again. And when they went there, eventually they did open him up. And pull that stuff out, and it was pellets. Somebody had been shooting him in the head with a pellet gun.
He got into the chicken pen.
Chicken pen? What do you mean? No, somebody had tied him up and was just shooting him over and over and over in the head. So they removed that stuff, and but Rusty, we were really little, and Gramps would let us go play out way out in the field and in the forest and stuff, and he would just go, "Rusty, you watch them children," and Rusty would go. And we didn't think about it as we were growing up, but he would just be sitting there doing circles around us the whole time. And one time he started barking at us, and I said, "What is it, Rusty?" and he reached down and he grabbed and just lifted up and lifted. He threw a snake up in the air, and then that snake came back down.
Went,
well, no, we were fascinated, but as soon as that snake landed, he grabbed it and just, you know.
It's like Lassie, only
yeah. I mean, like he could understand. It was like that a lot. He helped Gramps fight groundhogs because they would get into the shed and bury under, and Rusty would go in and fight those groundhogs in their holes and drag them out, and Gramps would then shoot them, and there was groundhog, and groundhog's tasty. So, but yeah, dogs are treasures. Unfortunately, we don't have them for such a short time to spoil them while you have them. Yeah. Truffle and Alice, those are both good schnauzers. Samantha and I wanted my grandfather I grew up with border collies. Then when I moved in with when we moved out of my grandparents' house into our own house, then we had labs. And I tried to get Samantha to do border collies or labs, and they just never did work for us really. And Collier was allergic to them, so then we went to miniature schnauzers. And man, I'm a fan of the schnauzer breed.
And I had saved, and every bonus check I got, I surprised him with the border collie puppy, and we had to rehome it to I think it was a horse farm down in Granger County. But yeah, it's just
that puppy. I would.
She's living her best life there.
She is, but I would wake her up, and she would want to go on a run. And I'm like, crap. You can tell from the way I'm built, I'm not a runner, right? So I would take her out there with those tennis balls and that little stick. And I would throw them for like 40 minutes. That dog would just fetch over and over again or do tricks or whatever. And then I would run her into the ground. And then I'd carry her inside. She was so tired. She'd fall asleep at my feet. I kid you not, 10 minutes later, I'm sitting there like, okay, I can do some work now. 10 minutes later, she's up. Let's go play. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
She was a puppy.
She was a puppy.
Full of energy.
But border collies they're bred to range, so they just go and go and go. But truffle butter sounds good about now. Well, the truffle's the name of my dog, so it depends on what you mean. But yes, I agree. We are 95% lactose intolerant. Oh, seems that we start to digest it from gut biomes. Exciting research on this. I stopped having symptoms after I drink milk for a few days. Interesting. Gramps sounds like an old Ulster Scot. I mean, he pretty much was. I mean, he was very proud of being in that our family was Scots-Irish. So, and he had border collies and he could master them like crazy. So
Kathy has a schnauzer too.
Oh yeah, they're so good. Yeah, we are one of the biggest milk guzzlers, even though you guys can't do it, huh? But you guys ferment a lot of yours too, though. The fermenting probably helped. Save Rusty's DNA. I wish I could. That Rusty died when I was 9 years old, something like that. So, hey, beautiful humans of the microcosm. Human. Love our schnauzer. Schnauzer, they really are good dogs. Question. I've got some pint jars of brown rice flour and vermiculite. Uh-oh, I know what you're growing. Been watching them for weeks. Tiny fruits on the top and tiny pins growing all around the jar, but the jar isn't colonizing. Mycelium isn't spreading. Well, wherever you've got fruits, it's definitely if they're growing all around the jar and on the top, then you definitely have some mycelium growing. You're just saying it's not colonized the rest of it. Is it just not colonized in the bottom? Because if that's the case, then the bottom may be too wet. So if that's the case. So baking soda and water is the best. Oh, for upset stomachs. I've heard that before. What's up, Jacob? Don't know if you were hearing I was talking about with the Enokis, but I've got germination of the golden Enoki and the white Enoki now. So, and I've got some crosses going and clamp connections. So I've got some strains that should be crosses between the white and the golden Enoki. However, Jacob Wolves actually pulled up an interesting point a moment ago that my golden Enoki may be a different species than my white Enoki. Because I didn't think about Flammulina filiformis. But these golden Enokis are bigger and they are more golden in color. So I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see. Nope. Not answering the phone right now. I'm in the stream. Cheers, buddy. The people who would shoot a dog with a pellet gun. I know, man. It just I don't understand it.
Yeah, we're big we're huge animal lovers, and we try to take really good care of them. But golly, it's just something like that. It's just, it makes us angry too.
Big time. Do you all like kefir? I love kefir. I don't think Samantha likes it so much.
I will drink it, and I do like it for the way that it makes me feel, but the sourness, that
she doesn't like buttermilk
that pucker,
either.
like there's just whew.
I think we probably like it best in like shakes. Like if I put some kefir in with some blueberries and protein powder and my greens powder, my beet powder, that kind of stuff, then I think she'll drink the kefir like that. Just
and
fine.
I like it homemade after a certain, so many days.
Yep.
I don't like it when it's super well cultured. That's kind of
she likes it. So the kefir, she likes it about 3 days before I like mine.
I'm very similar with kombucha
and sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Any of the fermented foods. Samantha likes them like a few day ferment, and then I'm like, give me weeks.
Which I'm also I'm not a drinker. Like I don't like wines and stuff, like especially if it's like strawberry wine. I'm like, I'd rather just have the strawberries. Yeah. Whenever we cook our vegetables, I like mine still slightly like bright green and crunchy. He likes his cooked to oblivion.
Yep. I want my vegetables fully dead and my meat still alive.
So yeah, big difference there, and it's hilarious because whenever we cook or we cook for each other, it's kind of like we'll be considerate of each other, but
to a point.
Yeah, we try to meet in the middle.
We do. Oh man, one thing we do agree on though: mushrooms have got to be cooked.
Yeah, and we like those crispy and kind of crunchy and well done and.
Yep, browned.
Oh yes.
Jacob says, "Yeah, they are different species, but I think you can still cross them." Yeah, that was what I was thinking. I pulled it up so I could read about it a little bit more on the crossing and see, but that's what I was thinking too. I got your message about the blue blob as well. I will talk to you about that later. I meant to send you a response already, but I got busy, and then to be honest, I got into a video game and forgot. So I'll get you, but I was playing like I had 13 minutes before the show, so I dropped into a hell dive real quick just to help some people in the last little bit. But I was like, I probably should have messaged Jacob in between that time. Can't be all work. Too wet, maybe. I've never seen pins before the whole jar basically turned white. Weird. That happens a lot with certain things, and that may be the strain you're growing. But yeah, sometimes it can be too wet, and so what you'll see is the mycelium won't fully spread and connect until it starts to dry it out some. So filling out my tiny tent somewhat dialed in. My hericium are getting bigger. Excellent. The tiny systems are always the hardest to balance. Always the hardest to balance.
Yeah, I think we take for granted with the warehouse how large our spaces are.
Yeah, the bigger room, usually the easier it is to balance that. The thing about it this way, the larger the ecosystem, the more fail safes are just naturally built into that ecosystem, right? Because it takes more to wreck that ecosystem. I like about a week-old sauerkraut. Fermented kraut on a bratwurst is amazing. I agree, though, except I think mine's about day 14 was my favorite that I found on sauerkraut. And what I like to do is I don't like to just make cabbage sauerkraut so much anymore, though it's still good. But I like to take, in the summertime in particular, peppers from the garden, slice up the peppers. So do sweet peppers, hot peppers for my son. I don't like the hot kraut like he does, but sweet peppers, cabbage, and then apples. Usually right about the fall, before the frost kill my peppers, and as the apples are starting to ripen and fall, that is whenever we get the best sauerkraut because it becomes a very, very appley, very sweet pepper, very cabbagey kraut.
That's right at the time where cabbage is just rolling in.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's Andrew made, how many jars did you make? It was like 4 or 5.
No, it wasn't 4 or 5. It was 14 jars. And I put them in the cupboard, and I was like, I'm going to enjoy these about 2 weeks from now. And then but I'm also the kind of person that I like to let things sit. So if let's say I buy a bag of candy, right? I like to put that bag of candy in my stash spot, and then every now and then treat myself with a piece of candy. But my kids, if they find it, eat all the candy immediately. Well, my son, my oldest son, loves fermented foods of any type. I mean, like the whole family. We all, you know, pickled uh, okra, pickled asparagus, pickled beets.
And
You know,
stocking
my
stuffers.
my parents literally got me pickled beets for stockings in my stocking, and pickles, just like regular cucumber pickles.
And
Um,
Andrew's family takes stocking stuffers very, very seriously.
mhm.
Like, and it's stuff that you can eat and practical things you can use throughout the year.
Summer
And
sausages, beef jerkies, pickled vegetables, oranges, uh, candy. My all three of my kids got pocket microscopes this year, which were like my daughter literally said, if I got nothing else for Christmas this year but this one little pocket microscope, I would have been happy. Um, so all that kind of stuff. But the point that we were getting to was the sauerkraut that I made. I made this amazing sauerkraut, and
we've been taking pictures and stuff.
yeah, the sauerkraut ends up being like the day I'm like, all right, I'm going to start eating this. I go into the cupboard and there's not a jar of sauerkraut left. Apparently, my son had been sneaking up at night, grabbing a jar, taking it back to his room, and eating the entire jar of sauerkraut that night. And every night he would eat a jar of sauerkraut. And he's like, every night it just kept getting better. And I'm like, yeah, because it's fermenting. And like, you're just eating all my cabbage, son. So.
Oh, of all the things that he can eat as much as he wants.
That's what I was like, well, at least he's eating healthy.
It could have been a whole thing of cookies and he could have thrown it all up.
Right? Does Andrew like fermented borscht? I don't think I've had fermented borscht. Maybe I have, but I love borscht. I just don't know anybody who ever fixes it for me, so it's not one that Samantha knows, and it's she doesn't know how to cook borscht.
Although I'd be curious to learn.
Well, there's Google.
I'd be happy to.
I would love to eat your
figure
borscht.
it out.
I've been growing reishi in bags, but they're not coming in very full. Any tips for a full flush with reishi in a bag? So the biggest thing really is genetics. You got to get the right genetics. But also the other thing I found very helpful is the Horizon bags from Unicorn. What is it? XLSA-H, I think is the thing for it. So
I really think it's we're spoiled over here because we can just walk over.
Oh, yeah, I can just walk over and grab, like if I need two bags.
And I go by
two.
sight, so the whole XLS, the Dashi system I'm not familiar with it.
But that's the biggest thing for his genetics, really. Like I was telling someone earlier, if you've got reishi, good genetics of reishi in a bad situation, the reishi is going to work and it's going to find it. It's XLS-B Horizon.
Yeah, it's the long one.
Yeah, the long patches. They work the best for making the antlers. And antlers are my favorite way to grow them anyways. And honestly, the most profitable way I've found. So I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to take a quick break. So watch this from our sponsor, and I'll be right back.
Introducing the future of mycology. Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery. This isn't your average culture mix. It's a revolution in a packet. Crafted for the dedicated cultivator seeking unparalleled growth. Experience the visual alchemy of this masterful brew. As you mix 10 grams with 500 milliliters of water, watch the solution transform into a rich, amber spectacle. The hallmark of a nutrient-dense sanctuary for your burgeoning mycelium. This is where vibrant color meets vibrant life, setting our elixir apart from the ordinary clear liquid cultures. Prepare to be captivated. Mix 10 grams of Dr. Silurian's elixir with 500 milliliters of water, add a stir bar for thorough integration, and sterilize the blend at 15 psi for 45 minutes. Once cooled, introduce your favorite culture into this perfectly prepared, nutrient-rich environment. Watch in awe as the elixir works its magic, unveiling a mycelial masterpiece before your eyes. Choose Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery for a mycological adventure that's as visually enchanting as it is potent.
Oh, it's done. so I don't have his headphones on. So I didn't. I just noticed that the screen changed. You're back.
Oh gosh, I didn't make it.
You did make it. It just turned off. I just noticed it on the screen.
You just noticed it? Sorry, guys.
I don't think it was very long.
The warehouse is long, and the bathroom is on the opposite end. So
Yeah, and we only have one bathroom, so
we do
it's actually yeah, it's frustrating.
a little bit.
Especially when you have two different crews here.
Putting some blob spores from last year onto agar as we speak. Hey, man, that sounds good. I still have some that you sent me as well. But I actually have 7 or 8 different cultures of it already going, where I just bred it to itself. Because I think as soon as you...
Goodness.
that you had sent me last year, I immediately put them to agar and then never grew them out because I got so busy with everything else. I'm constantly been that way. I think I did put them one time to a bag of spawn. That was right when we had that problem with our temperature probe. So the one time I tried to grow them out. Now would be a really good time to grow them, though. Let's see. I can eat a mild kimchi, but can't tolerate a traditional because it's way too hot. I agree. Koreans can eat. Oh my gosh, Koreans can eat way spicier than I feel like Mexicans can even sometimes. It's crazy hot to me. Whew. Kimchi is so good when fermented too. Yeah, I love kimchi. My dad's Russian roommates used to get a bowl of borscht and leave it underneath their bed for days and then eat them. I don't know that I could do that. That sounds really... I would try it, I guess. If I saw them eat it and survive it, I would try it the next time.
There's also... fermented foods give me a slight ick factor, and I don't know if that's just me or if it's something else that other people experience, but the smell, like it has to have a certain vinegary smell for me to even consider eating it. Like it's just there's too many things to me that can go wrong, but I don't know. Again, I'm suspicious of everything. So.
She is. Samantha is deeply suspicious by nature. I have your Appalachian enoki. Where's a good starting point for incubation and fruiting temperatures? As always, thank you. Let's see. I mean, honestly, you got a wide range with the Appalachian enoki. So if I was going to try to hasten my fruits, which means usually a pretty good idea as long as you can pay for it, the heating and cooling. But the idea would be something like 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit for incubation. And that would drop it down cooler to like 65 degrees to fruit in. So that'd be a pretty good starting point for the Appalachian enoki. But right now, the cooler it gets, the better it looks. But the slower it fruits.
I will say, though, that out of all the enokis that we have grown, Appalachian enoki definitely has the widest array of tolerances that I have seen.
Yeah.
So, something to consider.
Like right now, white enoki is doing really well for me, but when I tried to grow it earlier in the year, when it was warmer in my room, it did not grow at all.
It also grows super fast, and it does spore quite a bit. It is a wild strain.
Yeah. So it spores like crazy. So getting spores to try to breed the white and the gold together. The gold that I had spored everywhere, made thick prints. The white gave a good dusting. It was still a decent print, but it was definitely not like the wild one was. Is it wrong that I have a salivating effect from looking at Dr. Slurings? Not to me. I get the same thing, man. For sure.
I mean, technically, I suppose you could drink it, but I don't know that I would.
Especially when it's sterilized. I will tell you that it's not as sweet as it looks. I have drank it. And the problem with the mushrooms, anything that would cause enough sweetening for us to enjoy it, is pretty much too much sugar for the mushrooms to really grow. So, which EB was KB? KB wasn't an EB. So, Copperhead is Elm Blue 5. That's Elmsy crossed with Lambert's 123 Blue. King Blue, or no, King Blue was an Elm Blue. It was the first cross I ever did, and I don't remember.
I think it was the only one.
It was the only one from that series.
So
but
it was like, would you say EB1 on that? Or
no, because EB1 was from the EB series. No, I never coded that one.
Yeah,
King
this
Blue
was kind of, this
it
was your very
before-
first one, and
yeah.
it was, before you started really creating and coming up with a system. So,
Mhm.
but retroactively looking back, how
There's
would you
already an
code that?
EB1, so it'd have to be like EB0 or something like that.
And that's another thing is you get into these things and you start experimenting and everything becomes really interesting and you're taking notes. And that's something else that Andrew and I were like, okay, in 2025, we really want to consolidate everything into one platform.
Yeah, our data. We have a ton of data. It's just none of it is in one platform.
Well, it's between
in one place.
several notebooks and lab notebooks,
External
and
hard drives and
planners, and
Google drives and different things. So,
well, and there's a lot of these we've been working on. Andrew's had his hands in it for 5 to 6 years, and so that's multiple hard drives is definitely it.
they make some cool variations. Oh, talking about the blob spores. Yeah, I'm definitely want. You make me want to grow them, so I'll probably go ahead and start running those out.
We have grown them.
We've grown the original culture.
Yeah.
That he sent us, but we've not grown the babies.
Right.
Right. That's what we're talking about. Get you a macerating toilet on the other side of the warehouse and pump it to the nearest drain. The problem is that all of the plumbing for the warehouse is where the bathroom is. So you would have to pump it, how many feet? It'd be like 40 feet.
Yeah, when we first moved in here, we definitely had to hire an electrician and bring him out and put in all of the plugs and everything else. And Ben worked alongside this fellow quite a bit, and so just kind of figuring out which plugins went to which light switches. It was chaos.
Well, the shared wall between us and the neighbors was not separated. And in fact, we had wires that crisscrossed. So I had the breakers for some of their electrical, and they had some of the breakers for our electrical. And it really sucked if you were here on the weekend and you flipped one of their breakers because you couldn't get back over there. So we learned to be really careful. And now finally that stuff is separated, but it took a long time. It wasn't a separate business before. And so they had to do, what they had to do. So to get it separated. But I was always curious about fermented beet drink from Russia until I actually tried it. It wasn't my thing. It tastes like salty dirt to me. I love it. Kvass. I think you just call it Voss, but it could be Kvass. But that stuff is so good. Bubbly dirt. It's amazing. Give me that juicy swamp water. I made a sauce with shaggy mane ink and salt fermented at room temp for a month. Kind of like soy sauce or garum. Has a funk to it. That sounds like it'd be pretty good. I've got koji going in the incubator right now. And my plan is to take that and then sauce it up a little bit. To add some cooked beans to it and such.
You brought me a bag one time that smelled very floral like, and then another bag that was very fruity. And my brain was just like, this is so wrong. This is
this can't
this
be right.
mushy rice. It should not smell like this other thing.
It smells like flowers and fruit.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one that salivated over Dr. Solarian's. Oh, no. There's a lot of people that salivate over it. Have you tried letting Appalachian Enoki fruit in bags that have long stems? Accidentally, yes. And now we've got some in the walk. Or no, we don't have it in the walk-in anymore, but we do have some here in incubation. Squeeze. Suck it in. She's going to go get you a bag so you can see. They're right next to the chestnut bags that are bursting at the top. Let's see. Ooh. Well, I thought she'd be back by now. Where you at? So say you might have to go around this time. Okay.
One of the things. Okay. Enoki.
Ow, my ear.
Sorry.
So it was on the shelf. So you can see they're fruiting all the way up.
And this is what happens at Christmas.
It's crazy. Like this, it's just like a crazy amount of stems. But of course, the light wasn't even. So this side where the light was grew like crazy, and then this side grew slower. But they absolutely will fruit in the bag. Oh my gosh,
Reminds
Samantha,
me of noodles.
they burst the bag open
Oh no!
right there at the seam.
This one has it. This is the one that is a no-go for you. Okay. This one's But yeah,
Those nasty, nasty chestnuts.
holidays are intense, especially right
Get
around
it? 'Cause
December.
we fruit intense.
But oftentimes this is kind of what we walk back to, and this is the chestnut that Andrew is so frustratingly allergic to, and we will oftentimes.
That's actually not even the biggest fruiting one I ever know. It's just
no, it's
the
not.
other one's probably spored all to high heaven though.
But it's almost there. Like I need to do something with it. But this was day 296. Yeah,
I'll let her pick those bags.
they don't
and
bother
then-
me.
No,
But
everyone else in the family really enjoyed them the last time we ate them, and I was just like, "Oh, this is okay." Well,
bless your heart, that's sweet.
so cool, 5 stars, best people ever.
That's after that's Ace.
That is Aislinn. That's our daughter, or sorry, Catherine. Catherine.
Aw.
Do you guys still sell Devil's Backup Trail LLC? I bought a house and moved a few months back and lost my long-term storage land. I should have it. I don't know if it's on the website right now, but I'll try to get it up on the website if it's not. I don't know if I've got any liquid culture of it yet either, so I'd probably have to grow it out and then put it in stock, and then I'll check. Doug. I mean, we do have it.
I have some in storage.
I know that I have it in long-term storage, even if I don't have. You have some in storage? Some of the syringes?
Of Devil's Back and Devil's Backup Trail.
Okay.
Both.
I don't think we've ever sold Devil's Back. We probably should, since we sell Devil's Backup Trail. Wiki.
Well, I have been
Wiki.
secretly kind of, if one person buys one, I'll often send them the other one and be like, hey, I handwrite notes all the time. Be like, give us feedback. Send us an email on the differences in what you see and observe between the two. So one is very ruffled and tight knit, and I can't remember the other one. It's been so long since we've kind of dealt with them.
Would you be interested in testing out a mushroom growers app? I, along with my brother, have an extensive experience in the field. I mean, I would be interested in testing it. There's someone else on here. Was it Michael Allen or Spore Muse? I can't remember if it was Michael Allen or Spore Muse that has an app that we're supposed to test or trial. And we're supposed to set aside some time. And both times we've tried to set aside some time, we end up just not communicating. I think it's because we're communicating through Instagram, and that's like the worst platform to communicate through. But I mean, Jacob, I'd be willing to try all of them. So I'm definitely interested in trying it. Question: do you have any updates on your prototype stir plate from Man-O-War Innovations? Yeah, so it rocks. It's amazing, but they're still prototyping new versions. So,
And Ben's prototyping sleeves for it.
well, that and like the actual structures, he's building those out. The plates where it sits. So there's still some more to trial out. Plus,
that was my version of sleeves. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Like just the
magnets. Like he's using different kinds of magnets. So he's doing magnets in an array. Then he's doing like high powered magnets that are more expensive. The problem with the more expensive ones, they do work really well, but the problem is that they're like, it'd be $50 added to the base price, and that's all well and good, but it's not gonna help make the plates cheaper. However, the array ones, the Hall Doppler array, something like that. Anyways, those are working really well, and apparently he can lower the price on that. So,
well, that's something I really appreciate, and I really admire about everyone that kind of plugs in and we kind of go back and forth on these things is everyone's trying to find a good price point. They're trying to find something that it kind of fits the Goldilocks zone of that price point and materials used, as well as its ability to perform. And I love it. It's great. It gets me really excited too. I know it does Andrew and everybody else as well.
Sorry, I was reading something.
Where'd you go?
I was reading. Same as the female version of Sonic. I didn't even see her get up. What's up, Devin?
Well, I'm really, really quiet too. So I oftentimes scare people because I'll just walk into a room, but no one hears my footsteps.
She does it to me all the time. She'll be, I'll just look behind me. She's been there watching me do lab work. And I'm like, oh. And I'm not
I don't mean to be creepy.
I'm not an easy person to scare, but Samantha and Charles both. When I'm in lab, I close the door and I expect to hear the door open. But I'll get into my music and stuff like that. And my lab is like my one place I really allow my ADD to go inward focused instead of outward focused. And so I go deep into thought. But if I'm out and about, if I'm driving, if I'm around people, my ADD is outside. I cannot think in deep thoughts at that point. All I can do is constantly notice everything that's going around me. So lab, I go deep in, then I don't notice all the stuff. And so people will just scare the crap out of me, because I'm in that space. So,
well, my mother is, a night shift nurse for years and years and years. Still is. Well, no, actually not still. But anyway, so my dad and I would play these games of who could be like the hunter or who could be the quietest, and we would go through and we would cook and be super quiet. Like it's just every little thing. I was trained that way.
Jacob said them chestnuts look pretty. They do.
They
look so pretty when they're grown in the bag. And I hate that you're allergic to chestnuts. Those are my favorite. Yeah, bleh. Enoki's my favorite. Wiki for your notes and documentation.
I will also say that grown in the bag, they're really tender.
Yeah.
So that might be something that you do.
Honestly, the yield looks really nice too.
It's just I wish I could take it out and like tear it apart and you could kind of see. But
you can. I'm not allergic. It's not allergic of being near them.
I like the stems when they're grown in the bag versus growing them out and about in the grow room. Just in general, they're really tough, and oftentimes I'll dehydrate them and powder them just to utilize the stems. Period. Try not to crinkle in front of.
Michael Allen said, "Not me." Okay, it's got to be Spore Muse then. Mine, Michael says, in January, I'll have a management software with scale, barcode reader, label printer, barcode or QR code, and accounting, maybe a module for a website in the same program.
Wowza.
I mean, if you want testers, I'm happy to test it. I've still not found one that I'm satisfied with. I will test it after the 10th of January. Nice, man. You're very close then. Ninja training. I guess that was ninja training. You guys rock. I've tried other companies' strains, and yours is by far the best quality. Thank you, Doug. It's only about to get better, and it's about to get better at a rapid pace. I'm a little intimidated,
to be honest.
It's kind of pissed me off because Samantha and I made all these beautiful spawn blocks for each block is a completely unique, brand new strain. One is King Blue crossed with Pathfinder, and I'm so excited about that. And we haven't done lab work all week because we've been so busy with family stuff. So I went back there and I looked, and it's fruiting in a dang spawn bag. And I'm just like, what are we gonna do? Like, clone it. It's already cloned. I already have it in culture. We just have to get it into the fruiting block somehow. So either tonight or tomorrow morning, Samantha and I are gonna be. It's gonna be tomorrow morning. I kid myself. I think I'm doing work after this. I love you guys, but I'm not naturally an extrovert, and so. In fact, every time I've ever taken a personality test, I'm 1% extroverted or like 3% introverted. I'm always right on the line.
You're like ENFP versus INFP?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm stuck between INTJ and INFJ, but consistently for the past 4 years, I've been testing as INTJ, if you do the Enneagram thing. And there's wings to that too. And then you have
Yeah. My big thing though is that I just
disc score.
As much as people think that by watching this or coming up and talking to me at festivals that I'm an extroverted person, I'm actually not. I do really enjoy talking with a very small amount of people. But when it comes to doing the show, and I enjoy this, but it leaves me exhausted. It leaves me tired. Market used to leave me flattened. Ben Dooling and I were talking about this the other day. Ben Dooling is done with market and he's ready to go 15 more rounds, and but his farm manager, Becca, if she does market, she goes home and takes a nap. She just can't do it anymore apparently. So and that's the way I am. So I mean, you can do whatever you want, man. Who's it with? Just out in town? That's fine with me. Just make him wear a helmet.
I made him put headlights on his skateboard.
That too. Oh, it's night. Be extra careful.
It's mostly
No stupid things. If you see a crackhead, don't stop and talk to him. Wear your helmets. Use your headlights. Be safe. That's my boy. Not a boy no more, I guess, but my oldest boy. They're big skateboarders, and so they have to go around town. But yeah, Doug, the big thing for me as far as the strains go, going back to your point, and I really appreciate you saying that. I put a lot of hard work into what we have to offer, but I've got some really cool stuff coming out, and I hope that it gets even better for you guys. So I'm really, really proud of what I got coming out. I'm trying to remember the name of the slimy mushrooms that are popular in Japan. Namiko is the way I've always pronounced it, but Namiko, I think, is what people say. They literally produce a slime, then the pins form in that slime, and as they grow, they stretch that slime out until basically it, and then it's a very slimy one, but it's apparently the slime is where a lot of the polysaccharides and the good stuff is. So, saying Holly has scared the hell out of me many times, and you can even see the door from the flow hood. Yeah, it's just the way it works, man. Plus, women are scary.
That's so nice. Aw.
Howdy from Wisconsin. Well, hello from East Tennessee, bud. Interesting. Could be a really way to go for me to get 2 flushes from chestnuts. How long do those incubate for? What's the date, Samantha, on those chestnuts?
296.
296, and today is 360. Let's see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Today is 361, and those are what?
296.
296. So, 361 minus 296 is 65 days. So right about 2 months. That's actually a pretty good time. My 4-week cycles with being cold stops me from getting 2 flushes on them. Yeah, I can see that.
Well, if you cold shock them and then hit them before you plant them.
Samantha and what was her name? Laura. Oh my gosh. They used to take them out.
We would drop them against the table.
They would hold them out shoulder height and drop them.
Yeah.
and that drop would act as the smack, and they would fruit like crazy. So.
And before we had these shelves, we put down like pallets on the floor, and we had the bags all lined up in a row, and whenever we were transferring everything to the carts, we would kind of thump them, and then when we put it on the cart, we would thump them again. Like it just kind of helped.
True. Back to weightlifting again. My pecs are starting to feel good. Oh, bend that bar. Yeah, I get canopies of chestnut in the bag, then side or bottom fruit them there after harvesting. That's a good idea.
It's good to see him back.
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm feeling so much better. I weightlifted with Charles last night, and he ran me through swings, 40 minutes of swings, and my calves, holy crap. My calves today are, which you wouldn't think with swings.
Were you winded at all?
He forced me to do maximum rest. So it was like every minute he would only allow me to do 3 reps max. Just hand to hand. And basically he wanted me to do a hand to hand. So I was basically just doing 2 swings every minute for 40 minutes. And in the beginning, no, it felt like nothing at all. But by the end, I guess the cumulative effect of it, by the end, I was starting to breathe heavy between sets. And I was like, he's like, aren't you glad that I didn't let you go up and wait? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. So being kind of lower on weight, lower on your swings, but
He wanted
compounding over time to build endurance.
he wanted to see how long it would take me for my lung, because he knows right now I've been going back to lifting heavy, but I've not been doing cardio. So he brought me back to, let's stretch the lungs a little bit. Let's see how the lungs are doing. Let's test those lungs out and see how long they can go, kind of thing. And after that, we did a walk. And what was funny, I was already breathing heavy from the swings, but then we went on the walk cool down. We walked down, to the creek and back up and around, like we kind of do on a short loop with the bikes. And I was going up the hill. It was not that steep hill. It's the hill I've walked up a million times. But I walked up that hill with him, and I was, he just kind of looked at me. He smiled real big, and he just put his hand on my back, and he's like, he just smiled like, and I went, what? And he went, I'm just appreciating and loving you. Ray has like, oh yeah, because I'm breathing heavy, and he's like, just appreciating and loving you. I was like, okay, because I'm breathing heavy. Yep. Was definitely having a hard time, but it feels good. It definitely feels good to be back.
But you were there, and you were.
I was there, and I represented.
Yeah. Represented is the word I was looking for, but didn't have. Yeah.
But I also, I'm getting back to it. I'm hitting the heavy bag regularly, so. King Blue crossed with Pathfinder. Now I have to get that. Yeah, well, hopefully in a couple of weeks you'll see some pretty photos. 2 to 3 weeks. I just got a skateboard for the first time in 20 years. What's funny is Collier has brought skateboarding to life here, right? And of course we got the big parking lot and everything for him, plus the whole downtown that he
He'll
can go exploring.
skateboard the trash out to the.
he literally, it's crazy. As far as skateboarding goes, he'll get on those skateboards and he'll just and grab trash, throw it in the dumpster, keep going, come back, grab the next bag, throw it in. But
he'll skateboard packages to the mail truck and
back, and
he's got ripsticks and just a bunch of different things.
a
Electric
fleet.
skateboards.
Yeah.
He even has a scar at this point. That was like 14 stitches.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, 14 stitches in his lip, and he's got this just little chunk of his lip taken out now from a nice little accident. But what's funny is, like, as he's done that, all these mushroom guys that come here, they'll see him skateboarding. And he's been given skateboards by a lot of guys, but a lot of guys are like, can I get on that skateboard? I have not been on a skateboard in 15 years, and it's funny to see all these how many mushroom guys are skateboarders in previous times, like growing up. So,
and we've had I was going through making deliveries in Oak Ridge, and there's more skate parks there than what I realized. So it's kind of neat seeing the cities kind of support that ability to balance and move, and skateboarders get a bad rap, in my opinion, at least here in East Tennessee.
Well, they used to. I feel like it's changing though some too. I've been using Mycofile, but it's difficult to use. I've not tried Mycofile, but I have seen it on the App Store. But yeah, I hadn't tried that one yet.
Well, what do you find difficult about it? Like that feedback in that regard for the developers, that would be awesome, because a lot of these guys don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to have a login to the website to make it easy to track what I've bought and leave reviews that aren't spam. Is that for our website or for Mycofile's website? If you're talking about our website, our admin is we let him know earlier this show when other people were telling us they were trying to subscribe, and he's getting that fixed. Have you found a good way to grow Nomico? They really need the cold and humid and so slow. As soon as I figured out I used to grow them when we were in the basement farm, like the very first year, maybe the first few months we had the basement farm. We grew a very small amount of them, realized they were slow, realized I didn't like the taste all that much. They were okay.
The texture was off-putting to the chefs we were working with.
And back then we were just like trying to figure out, and then we went a whole hog oyster. And I've never gone back to Nomico. I've got 3 cultures that there was a guy going out of business. I bought out his entire culture library, a couple hundred strains or something like that. So I have those backed up, and I just keep putting them back in long-term storage, but I never use them. Every now and then I'll about once every 4 years, which has only happened one time now. But my plan is that once every 4 or 5 years to pull it out, grow it a little bit, put it back in. So, I'm good with this. Honestly, people that haven't ordered here should order. It really helps you in the long run. They have great quality, and they are the sweetest people. Anyone here that haven't given them 5 stars should give them 5 stars. Give them 5 stars. Stars, honey. Start. And this is my daughter. I want everyone to know this is my daughter.
We did not pay her or put her up to this.
We did not put her up to this. Thank you,
Goodness.
Aislinn. Oh, gosh. Cracking me up. She said crap. Good yields, though, on the Namiko. Yeah, I had good yields when I grew them, but I just... Back then, too, my formulations were not all that great. I hadn't tried the genetics that I've got, so.
So something my dad would bring me to work with him all the time, and he's a heavy equipment mechanic, engineer, and I used to hand him tools, and I would just be so proud to sit there and hand him stuff. And Aislinn for years has worked behind the scenes. She's the one that oftentimes, if you've gotten stuff from us, put the thank you slide in there.
Yep.
And so she would fold the invoices for me to where they would be perfect.
My boys are not interested in the least in the mushroom business.
She'd run the sealer,
but she is. She's my little buddy. Ain't so little no more, I guess.
I can spell it promise.
I loved to skateboard. Wasn't the greatest with tricks, but I enjoyed to roll in random spots and to listen to some punk rock. Yeah, so what Collier and Brody like to do, they like to travel. Like legitimately, they use the skateboard. They have trick boards, but they don't really do a lot of tricks. Collier's really interested in surf skates. So you put these modified trucks, and he can literally you produce power by going back and forth, and you get a lot of flex. They sit higher. And they flex a lot. So he can pump side to side and then build up speed. Kind of like how a ripstick does, except it's not rear wheel driven. It's not it doesn't look like a shark's fin kind of thing. And man, that's super cool. Collier got headlights for Christmas. So now he and Brody both have headlights and tail lights on their boards. I want to get a one wheel, but I've spent so much money on the website and blah, 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 other things, infrastructural stuff that for the business that until all that stuff pays itself off, I'm not buying myself any toys. So, but I want a one wheel bad. Hey guys, order some cultures and some extracts. But he definitely, they get out there and play a lot. It makes me want to get out there. I was never a skateboarder. I did use my bike a lot. My bike was freedom when I was a kid. In fact, back, what was it, Samantha? Probably 2008, 9. Ben and I used to bike to work and stuff. We biked everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in good shape back then, too.
That.
Yeah, I bet you remember that. I was in good shape.
Yeah, bike's not so much for me. We did a lot of hiking and running, and my grandmother would call us ridge runners because we'd always be up in the mountains, kind of running the top of the ridges.
We used to go to the mountains a lot. But Gramps and I spent more time on the water than anything, I think. We grew up canoeing, boating, that kind of stuff. Josh and I on the river I was on there for a short time. Josh has been on the river for 10, 12 years, something like that now.
Oh, yeah.
So water, I feel at home on the water. That's the best place for me. I finally got a motor for my canoe this year and registered my canoe, which was my Gramps' canoe. It was the canoe I grew up in. Then he taught me to canoe. That was before he passed away. I said, Gramps, can I talk to you about something uncomfortable? And he said, sure. And I said, well, you're getting older and you're going to die. And he went, yep, uncomfortable. And I went, but I said, and look, I don't know what your will is. And he said, well, now I don't. And I said, I don't want to even know. I said, I just want to ask you, about my inheritance. And he's like, well, Andrew, I don't. And I was like, I don't need to know. I don't want money. I don't want land. I don't want anything. Can I get a gun from you? Can you just put it in your will that I get a gun and I get a canoe? And he went, do you have to wait until I'm dead? And I went, no, I guess not. And he went, let's go pick out a gun and let's go pick out a canoe. And I think he was really proud because I didn't pick the brand new plastic canoes. I picked the aluminum low line that he had. And it's because that's the one he taught me. You know, I told him, I said, I want a gun and a canoe because you taught me to boat, you taught me to shoot. And so I picked that canoe, and then the gun I picked was my great-grandfather's. The man I'm named after, it was his gun. So you can't even fire it because it's so old you can't fire modern ammunition through it. I think I just saw him smile when I picked that, and I was like, yeah, I picked the right thing.
Well, and now you have taught your children how to canoe with that same canoe, so it's
Yep.
been.
And
And
the
I made a
kayaks
face earlier whenever you mentioned it, and it's because as much as you love these things that are passed down that last through the generations, Andrew had a time trying to get this thing tagged. Like, it was ridiculous. Yeah. They do not make it easy.
Well, he had
take
it.
What
he
is
had it registered.
familially yours and continue with it.
He had it registered, so whenever I go to register it, they wouldn't let me register it under his number because it was registered to him and his number. But I was like, he's dead. Anyways, I kept the numbers on there, and they can find me. I think it's
throw a towel over it.
I mean, they're stenciled, they're faded, but screw it, I'm keeping them.
Kathy said, "Love your grandpa and grandma pa stories." We have a lot of them. There's so many good memories, and so many on Andrew's side and on my side. Like, we're really lucky and very fortunate, and that those were even passed down.
Oh yeah, that's why he was a hell of a man. So, Devin, I ruined my knees and lower back skateboarding. That's not great. So do it carefully, y'all.
Yeah, I worry.
Yep, been skating for 38 years and mushrooms too. 38 years skateboarding? Holy shit, dude. That's a long time to stay with a hobby. At that point, it's not even a hobby. It's a lifestyle or something. What are 3 or 4 of the chef's favorites? So, you had more recent time with the chefs. Why don't you answer that? I will say we've started testing the waters with Enoki, and that seems to be getting more popular, though a lot of chefs, when you tell them about it, are like, I don't know what to do with this. So, but as they try it, everyone that I've seen try Enoki has been like, this is one of my new favorite eating things ever.
Shiitake sold really, really well, but that's a difficult one to keep up with. Like,
I'm breeding that, so I'm going to breed better ones.
I just mean, like, if you have a smaller space and you don't have the space to incubate it,
right.
Like, it's a difficult one to keep up with.
I'm working on speed.
Well, hopefully there'll be some improvements in the very near future, and that won't be a problem anymore.
It's going to be like 2 years before I can release anything. Yep.
Well, and that's another thing. But anyway, it's oysters are always really popular because they're well known. They're easy to cook with. They tend to really, at least in my experience, they tend to really like the oysters like Old Road that don't really have much of a stem, and you just kind of peel them off and go with it. Or
like the King Blue.
King Blue is huge because it has that marshmallowy stem.
Yeah.
Anything that they can utilize
Cumberland.
the entirety of it is big.
I'm trying to think what other ones fall into that category. So that'd be King Blue, Pathfinder, Old Road, Cumberland. Those are the 4 fat oysters we've got right now, right?
Did you say Pathfinder?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then the King Blue Imposter, King Blue Improved, and then the Kowee King Blue, which is not for sale yet.
It's hard too because each chef has their own personality and something that they really. A good example is that we sold to Adopo for years and years and years, and the chef there, like, they have pizzas, so it was like, okay, I would like every box to be consistent and have the same thing in it. And then they switched hands a little bit on the chef's side, and someone new came in, and they really liked variety. And we got a call saying, hey, I'm going to go with this other company that has more variety. And so it's just kind of like, it's
we're like,
hilarious.
Literally, we can give you more variety.
Yeah. Well, in fact, the company that they were selling to them were using our various strains to sell. It was ironic, to say the least, but it's just, really get to know your chef at your restaurant. Make notes for them.
Yeah,
But
that's Samantha used to on our double door fridge. Samantha used to have notes like Adopo likes all one box of all one type. So and so likes boxes that are very diverse. This chef really likes a box that looks full. This chef cares a lot about weight. She would keep little stuff like that.
so this is a really tough question. And you could do 3 to 4 different types per chef, honestly, in a lot of ways. And there's chefs that adored hericiums, and wouldn't touch oysters. And so it's just kind of you really need to just know kind of their personality, what they're cooking, what's on their menu. Cater to them to a certain degree, but also like, hey, I'm growing this at this specific time. A lot of them they're there. They hope you succeed. You're there growing things, hoping they succeed. You support one another. So just grow what you have to, and they'll cook what they have to. But yeah.
I'm
That
a
was
big proponent of
convoluted
the
and
chefs
wide.
don't know what they want really. So
we've been at this for 2 hours. Our daughter is now.
that's all right. She can wait a little bit longer.
Aww. She's frying and making.
So I would
fries
say,
and
like, if you're wanting specific types, like that are listed on our website, so to shorten Samantha's answer, usually the oysters that can be used from the edge of the cap all the way down to the block. So stuff like Old Road.
That was something consistent across the board.
Right. Old Road, King Blue, Pathfinder. Aislinn, I'm getting an echo if you're watching us. So let me try it again. King Blue, Old Road, Cumberland, the Mossy Creek oyster for sure. And Jacob, appreciate you saying. Jake, I appreciate you saying that because I definitely forgot about that one. That one's a brand new one for us that we just got this past year. And
that is out of our Mossy Creek.
Yeah, like legitimately, we found it a mile or two down the road along the creek comes here by the warehouse and then keeps going towards the lake. And we found that we stop at this place called the Wildlife Viewing Area. And that we found it there.
We had to be really patient with that one because the first time we saw it, they were all dried out and we weren't able to get anything from it.
Right.
And then we had to wait until it
rained
another season and it rained really heavy. And then we were like, okay, we got to go back. And we found it then.
Skateboard leads to BMX, leads to auto sports. As you age, get a cage. I like that. I like that a lot. I want a pogo stick so I can hop away from a bad situation.
It's fun.
I like that. Like, can you imagine what a diss? Somebody's giving you crap and you hop away. That's how I'm concerned. That's how unconcerned I am with you. I'm hopping away. On Christmas, my dad was just talking about some of my worst accidents through my skateboarding career. That's what you sign up for. As a dad or as a skateboarder? Because yes to both. Oh my gosh. I swear when they wrecked and went to legitimately ambulance came to pick up one of them and then Collier rode and then had to go get stitches, missing part of his lip. His lip literally had a flap. It was got his teeth cut right through it. It was so bad. 2 whole hours. That's a long stream. Aislinn, it is not a long stream. By the way, guys, speaking of long streams and such, what? Joan Smith, 5 stars, great people, good quality. Is that you, Aislinn?
No.
Yeah, she said yes, it is. So speaking of, guys, let's see. So the code for this week, since we're at 2 hours, is save 20% with discount code year end. That's one word, year end. YEAREND. It's kind of like rear end, but year end. 20%. So, and that will stack with the 15% code that we have for our thank you notes. So, you get yourself 35% off by combining the two codes. You get yourself off 20% off on your first order. With your second order, tune in again for the next set of codes and get yourself a nice stackable. And look, I know the mentorship page isn't up, but if you guys are wanting to get mentorships booked for next year, or even the smaller classes, we can get you some time booked. You can call the shop, email us. We'll get you set up. I will apply the discount code manually if you mention it to me, and you can get 35% off a mentorship. That's significant savings. So,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, save a few $100s with your mentorship and put that towards the nice Airbnb or even mushroom supplies when you get home. So remember that 20% off code year end. Get you some. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for alerts when we go live. That should have been done a little bit earlier, I think.
We're really bad at self-promotion.
We are bad at self-promotion. I
We
feel
probably ought
so
to get better
weird,
at this.
skeevy, and like car salesman doing it. But I know that you guys want me here and want me to support myself. So, and you guys have obviously been supporting us, so we really appreciate it. But yeah, with all that Christmas money you've been spending, make sure to use the codes to get you some good stuff, but save you some money while you do it, because that is
And don't forget to actually apply it when you check out. Because
yeah,
we've
we've
had a few people
do
that we've retroactively had to go in.
It's
and
on the right hand side. It's above the total and under all the other stuff. So don't forget to apply your discount on checkout. So, but with that, we are at 2 hours, 2 hours and 5 minutes. And it is the
Dinner
year
time.
end and it is dinner time. And I don't have any questions stacked up. So this is probably a good point to end it, which I guess we'll do.
Well, thank you guys for tolerating the day late, and she's hungry.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. Thanks for having fun with us, for supporting us, making all this possible.
Absolutely.
The show is actually something I get really excited about doing each week. I usually take most of the day off for it to like prepare stuff. And so today I didn't get the chance to do that. So hopefully maybe next week, but maybe the next couple of weeks, we're going to start having our guests coming on. Alan Rockefeller has agreed to come onto the show. So for those of you who know who Alan Rockefeller is, he is mushroom royalty. But he is he's one badass mushroom guy. So he's
I want Mandy and their whole
discovered...
team on here too.
Oh well, actually that's a good point. We should see if Mandy Quark will come on too. So see if Alan and Mandy will both come on.
That whole ecosystem that they created together is
absolutely.
just amazing to me. The teamwork and all of it.
And then Ed Grand has said that he would be on. So I don't know if Ed is still on here, but I've got to contact him. We've got to set up a time and a place. Heck, I might be able to get Jacob Howard on there as well, if he's still on. But we're hopefully going to have quite a few decent things coming on. Oh, also, we're going back to our segments for the farm tours and stuff. So anyone who wants a critique of their op and they're not afraid to put that up, we're not here to put anyone on blast. We're not here to shame anyone. We would love to go through your all's videos, like a video tour of your farm, and go through it live on the show. Basically, you get a free consult kind of out of it, and it helps us generate content. But we'll go through and we'll kind of, all of us together, chat included, can go through and really just give our ideas on your farm, ways that you can improve things, ways that you can streamline things, and things that'll help you. So if you want that, send your videos. You can set up your Google Drive and share the folder with us or that file with us by adding it to an email. Send it to mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com for your video submissions for your farm. We do have a few that are starting to build up. So, I will make sure to talk to you and contact you, make sure we get permission first before just sharing that. But I would love to go through and critique in a positive way people's ops. Again, I'm not here to tear anyone down or trash anyone. We will critique you and we'll give you our honest opinions. But of course, there's no malice meant behind that. Only a will for you to succeed.
Well, and I've told Andrew too, I'd like to take some of our old footage from our old farm and compare it against footage from this warehouse and how we've made certain steps over the years that have helped. And there's just things that weren't ideal, back in the old one that we've kind of fixed now, and then things that aren't ideal now. And so
Yep.
it's a growing experience for sure.
Oh yeah, and kind of like how we went on over that farm the other day off of YouTube. How they were like, we legitimately talked about how they were like, it was like a year or two old video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we
I'd love to see an update on his farm now.
I would too.
Like, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, just because we're critiquing where you're at then doesn't mean that we're critiquing where you're at now as well, or at least not critiquing it the same way. So, hey, can you talk about field capacity? You talking about for like water? I don't really work with that so much as I do a percentage base, but really about field capacity, what I understand, the way most people test that's just to grab their substrate and squeeze, and you should have like a very like less than 1 second run of water, and then basically just a drip, and that's usually field capacity, I guess, if that's what you mean. And a question about King Blue. What do you keep? It says, is the question about King Blue where do I keep my humidity at? I don't keep my humidity anywhere. I have a range. It goes from right about 65% on the low end to about 85-90% on the high end, depending on what time of year it is. Ed says, I'm also an introvert. No one believes me after a 3-hour stream, though. Thanks for the show. I'm going to go make some lacto-fermented jalapenos. Heck yeah, man. You can get jalapenos in Thailand? That's crazy. Or is it going to be like some sort of Thai chili pepper?
Why is that crazy?
I don't know. I didn't know. I guess jalapenos could be everywhere, but
I would say peppers would grow insanely
absolutely.
well.
I'm not saying
there.
that. I'm just figuring they have like a Thai pepper or something like
Oh.
that. I was kidding, Lol. You were lacking questions in the chat. Gotcha. I'll definitely be on. Thanks, Ed. I really am looking forward to having you as a guest on here. Hey, dudes. Hope you're good. Absolutely, man. Thank you. Ed Exception says, hey, Ed, Merry Christmas. Thank you, Caper. What's the best lion's mane for cooking? Oh, that's a long question to answer, honestly. Tender, I like to bread and fry slices for sandwiches. Tribbles is going to work great for you on that.
I like Bear's Head, personally.
Bear's Head is Samantha's favorite. And I will say the nice thing about
Tribbles.
Bear's Head has kind of like a syrupy smell to it, too, whenever it's ripe. So to use that discount code, I'm ready for a different lion's mane. Yeah, absolutely. Bear's Head or Tribbles are fantastic.
Home Tooth is really nice because you don't even have to chop it up. You just take it and you just crumble it. I will say you have to be quick on you cannot leave it. You have to sit there and just cook and stir the entire time.
Yep. High heat and stir. So, all right, y'all. I think that is it. So, thank you again for being here. And as always, y'all,
Keep
spawning culture.